Chad called as his out for the year, the back-to-back where you play the same team twice.
Oh, yeah.
You're so right.
It's the worst.
Can you imagine if Irvine beat Long Beach and then for 3 weeks
We all got to talk about it.
You get these great matches, and it's like, boom, exclamation mark, awesome. And then, like, you wake up 12 hours later and like, oh.
Well,
the air
Period.
is out of the bubble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
chapter, close that book.
Welcome to the coaches group chat. We might be visual. We might be just audio.
We are so back.
We'll never know. Well, we will know now.
We're gonna know
when you
in
listen to
about
this.
we're gonna know in probably the next 45 minutes if this recording goes well or if I need to use the backup recording. TBD. Time
We're
will tell.
having a lot of technical difficulties this season, but it's because honestly, Matt's fired our producer so many times, and now we don't have one.
Our
Chair sits empty.
our voluntary producer
All of our voluntary producers have decided that they
Jackson
don't
is
like us.
producing today's episode. Therefore, it will be the best episode ever recorded.
Bob's not here. Bobby's not here.
Bobby.
Hobby's
Hobby's
not
in Puerto
here.
Rico.
And cousin Greg is not here.
I forgot to text cousin Greg. Honestly, cousin Greg would 100% be there.
Shit, we
I told him
forgot.
it's an
Like an
open
yeah.
invitation, but I know cousin Craig needs me to actually text him each time.
Yeah, okay.
At least
so-
for the second one, so that he knows it's actually true. That's on me, Kyle. My bad.
Well, we have nobody here right now.
Sorry, just outed him like that.
Got it.
We had a heck of a weekend though.
It was a wild weekend. The coaches group chat was actually kind of popping off a little bit. We
was.
were like, wait, what? Huh? Who? Where?
You
what?
talking about our offsite
Why?
with Nikki Glazer? Or like, what do you
Oh,
mean?
yeah. We were all together, too.
Yeah, no, I'm talking we got CSUN, we got
Oh,
Grand
night
one.
Canyon, we
Night
got
one.
UCI, we
Got it.
the top 5 besides Long Beach went down.
Yeah, it was a typical April
Yeah, it really
weekend,
was.
honestly.
I mean, it was a little more atypical in the sense of how many of them lost, but this is a typical time where you got
It's-
some schools that are like going into break or finals or tests, whatever it may be,
Or just bored.
and it's the slog part of the season.
Yeah.
You're not at like playoffs yet. You're not at the conference tournaments. You're not in the championship tournament.
The weather's still kind of medium.
Yep,
Like,
The dog days.
the dog
yeah,
days.
It's the dog days.
Shout out to Jackson. Yeah, we had a number of huge upsets.
Okay, so first one was
I can list them off for us. You guys want to go over
the
what was
first
your
one that we watched?
CSUN versus Hawaii?
Yeah, CSUN Hawaii was the first one. Matt was peeing his pants watching it.
I posted about it, but I had called this upset
Yeah, we know.
literally December 27th.
We know.
I was like, there's no way Hawaii goes unscathed in the Matadome. They're going to lose one for sure. And sure enough, big sweep from the Matadors. Joao Avila, who I incorrectly labeled as Float Serve Jesus, had himself the match of a lifetime. He could do no wrong. It was hysterical. Everything he touched turns to gold.
Yeah.
It was good stuff. Yeah.
Were all of these upsets, were every single one of these upsets the home team?
Yes, they all were home
Ah,
teams.
that's funny.
Yeah,
Travel
all were
trip.
home team.
Everyone's like, man, we got to travel again. Like the nuance of traveling
Yeah.
is like not there anymore. It's like, I got to get on a
Irvine had to go all the way to San Diego. I mean,
yeah,
God,
it's like
damn,
the
how'd
travel
they do it?
trips. It's the travel trips.
You did call this out earlier in the year. So like last week I was talking about it. I told Ariel in the car one day, I was like, man, what Chad called as his out for the year, the back-to-back where you play the same team twice.
Oh, yeah.
You're so right.
It's the worst.
You are so right.
I don't need it.
Can you imagine if Irvine beat Long Beach and then for 3 weeks
We all got to talk about it.
Irvine gets to ride that
Years
high?
ago.
Long
Years ago
Beach-
we could talk
you're
about
just
it.
like
Yeah.
everyone's doubting Long Beach. You got this whole storyline develops.
Same with CSUN Hawaii. Same
Exactly.
with all
Yeah.
of these. It's like you could talk about it for a
I
while.
get Hawaii. I get Hawaii on the back.
Sure,
Like,
sure,
you're not
whatever.
changing that one, but you can change the Long Beach, Irvines, the San Diegos,
Yeah,
like
that
all of
one's
those.
dumb.
That'd be so much better if you have that travel partner, you have a huge upset against Long Beach, and then you don't see each other for another 3 weeks.
It would just be
and
better
it all
for
builds.
the lore.
100% for just for the media coverage of it.
God, yeah, the men's volleyball media coverage
It's
is
so-
just thirsting for
so-
something.
They are shooting us in the foot. We're trying to do something here. Come on.
And you get these great matches, and it's like, boom, exclamation mark, awesome. And then like you wake up 12 hours later, and you're like, oh,
Well,
The air
Period.
is out of the bubble.
yeah,
Yeah.
chapter. Close that book. All right, well, see you guys next year, I guess. Like, yeah, it's just a bummer. And then you get these weird things, right? So like the SC, where Dylan Klein goes down and then doesn't play night 2,
Yeah.
and then they lose, right? Like you get some of these weird things where depending on who you were playing at the right time, these things are going to affect seeding for conference, tournaments and all this kind of stuff. It's just weird. I mean, it saves money, and I know that's a big thing, of course, but it's a bummer competitively and media wise, for
Yeah.
sure, storyline wise.
I think there's a balanced approach. So you take the Hawaiis, you take the Grand Canyons, you take the BYUs. Like you're traveling out of state. Okay, even Stanford, Menlo now they're travel partners. So you hit Stanford, you hit Menlo, you hit both, and then the next trip when they come down to you,
not hard.
It's an easy balance in those situations. But when
it stopped, it was when they cut Pacific. They cut Pacific, and that was right after that. That's when they stopped doing the
Yeah.
double.
right, because it made
And now there's
sense
travel
for
buddy again. Can we stop with this?
yeah, bring it back so that you can adjust it. So when you have those like quote unquote teams that are on an island, there's no travel partner for them. Okay, you play back to back with them, but everyone else, we split it. Right, it's there, and then 3-4 weeks later in the season, however it needs to be scheduled out, you're playing them again at your place, so that we actually can have some build up rather than literally all the air comes out of the sails when you have that head to head, because all of these big upsets were immediately vindicated. Right, the following
What
match
a bummer.
minus USC Pepperdine, where it was literally an injury that was the primary cause there. So I mean, yeah, you had GCU UCLA big sweep, and then a 5-setter UCLA rebounds the following evening. Okay, I think that's a good one. That's GCU at their place, senior night.
That was the only one that I didn't watch. Was that first Grand Canyon game with UCLA? Did you watch that one?
I went back when I was like,
Yeah.
oh shoot, they're up 2-0. All right, I'll stick around a little bit. I mean, it's just on one of the monitors,
Yeah.
and it just was kind of sloppy from both sides a little bit. Like no one was like really. It didn't look super clean. It did kind of have that spring break dog days
Yes.
kind of feel to it. And GCU probably got the bump, right? Just being at home there.
Yeah, yeah. Also, I mean, it looked a little chirpy to me with the return of Cameron Thorne.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I went back and watched on Volumetrics, so it's tough to get a feel for like what were the vibes inside the building during that matchup from the bird's eye camera view. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there was some GCU motivation there to take care of business, and obviously there was one clip that they posted where they got a solo block on Thorne, and there were some words exchanged, and you see Thorne like with the look back. I was like, Thorne's going off on night 2. I'm
Somebody
calling it right
hit
now.
somebody.
How do you play on night 2?
Good enough to win. I don't have the stat line, but yeah, I just saw that look and was like, yeah, that's probably poking a bear a little bit there.
Yeah, I mean, and I think rankings wise, right? Like for me, that was why UCLA dropped more than some of these other guys, because like, yeah, hey, you got swept and then you barely won.
Right, you squeaked one
night
out.
2, right? It's not like again someone's coming off injury or any like big changes. It's like you're supposed to beat this team, and not really that tight. So.
Yeah. For me, USC losing with no Klein was an immediate like not even a wash, like not even holding it against them.
Well, they got him the first night, right? Everybody else lost night 1. Was like, all right, shit, guys, like here we go.
Yeah.
Right. SC lost 50% of their offense night 1. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Exactly. So that's why I think all 3 of us bumped USC up to 2 in the Trader poll ranking. And yeah, I mean, if Klein's healthy, they are legitimately worthy of that number 2 spot, and I'm interested to see them. I would love to see them versus Long Beach matchup. I'm sure, that's a very real potential for a NCAA tournament matchup. And
This might make things hard for editing because I'm throwing for a loop a little bit, but who do you think is the most improved team so far this year? And nobody prepared for this, so that's why I said that.
I think if I'm remembering correctly,
Like, who's
a lot of
best
us,
from-
a lot of us said USC was when we did our prediction episode at the very beginning. USC was one of the first ones, just because where they finished, where they should be. But we also had the talk of like expectation of the having top recruiting classes back to back,
Yeah,
and
that's
and
not,
underperforming.
I wouldn't say improved.
So I mean, but USC would be the most improved right now in comparison. They're the
From
number
the
two.
beginning of when we started this season to right now on who's playing well.
I like San Diego right now.
Yeah, San Diego's a good one. GCU is a good one. GCU is trending
Yeah.
up. San Diego trending up. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good that's come from there that you've had, like even Santa Barbara, right? Getting two big wins against CSUN. They're moving up.
I would say that Santa Barbara is gonna get 2 wins. They should be getting more. Like that to me isn't a like they've improved. I'm like Bianchi is getting back in. Like there's a reason why they're getting those wins, but like
And they were doing well at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
They hadn't played a lot of good matches, but like they were running what
They
they
were
were supposed to be
taking
running.
care of who
Yeah,
they're
and then
supposed to
he
win,
steps
yeah.
out, and now it's
I just mean like trajectory wise, like what
Loyola probably. I put Loyola Chicago in there as well, right? They've been steady and consistent the whole way.
yeah,
They had
still just 2 losses, right?
I thought Grand
Yeah,
Canyon
they
was
lost to
garbage.
Lewis.
I thought Grand Canyon was garbage at the beginning. I think they're okay right now.
yeah.
Like I think that they're better than they were before.
Yeah, they definitely were definitely on a
Yeah.
up and to the right trajectory rather than some of the other counterparts. So I mean, like BYU's been pretty up and down, but they're starting to steady out a little bit. Stanford started good and they've like bottomed, and you've got there's a bunch of mixture. McKendree's been pretty good, but they had the 2 bad weekends.
It's hard to get through a conference without like a bad weekend.
Yeah.
I don't care what team you are. Even Long
sure.
Beach took a loss. Like there's nobody that's just
I mean,
like unhittable.
It's the any given Sunday, right? Any given night in these top conferences. That's one of the cool things from this weekend that you can kind of take away is the parity has gotten smaller, right? Like the overall level of teams across the country is high enough where if you have a bad night, they'll beat you. There's still plenty of teams like that. Long Beach could have a bad night and they're still going to beat. Maybe they lose a set. Right, like they went 5 with Pepperdine early on in the season. Pepperdine is a top 10 team, but even still, then that was a match that you would think that if Long Beach played that 10 times, they're probably sweeping or going 4 sets and 7 of them. Right, maybe they lose 1.
I think that there's a difference between like club tournaments and the longevity of a college season. Like when you're at club tournaments, you've got like beginning, middle, end in such a short span of time. And so the top teams are going to get there at the end. And yes, the same thing goes for this of the top teams are going to get there at the end. But like there's so much time that these kids have to wake up every single day and go to practice. And the longevity of this is so taxing on them. And so the April lulls are just so expected at this point.
Yeah. I mean, also, there's a couple different factors too. Of even thinking about it like with the way a collegiate match is set up, it's best of 5. The top team is supposed to win in those situations. The majority of them. It used to be where they played. Do you guys remember when NCAA men's volleyball played to 30 rather than 25? Yeah. Like same idea. It was like they wanted to alleviate some of those big swings. Where in a club tournament, it's like best of 3. Anyone can beat anybody in those games.
I kind of like
what
that,
happened
though,
in
too.
the 41 minutes?
Yeah.
Like
we
Wait,
didn't warm up well in our
And all of a sudden
5
we
minute
got
off.
jumped.
We were
Yeah.
reffing the match
jumped,
before.
yeah, that's the right phrase.
It happens.
Getting jumped.
Absolutely.
It happens all the time.
That 1 versus 3 at the beginning of 18 Open is like half of them win. Half
the
of them
crossover
lose.
match to get into
the
gold.
crossover is like the worst hour.
Somebody didn't get their snack.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
man,
the
this season's
worst
down
hour
the
of volleyball.
tubes. Yeah.
Nobody text your girlfriend. Everyone turn off your
Everybody
phone. No bad
shut
news
up.
right now. No bad news. In the same vein, I'm gonna hop around a little bit from our docket here, but just looking at the parity, seeing how good men's volleyball has gotten. When you think about what's coming next year, 18-man roster cap, and some of the downstream effects of that. That's one thing I do see, just to kick it off, is like you see that those larger rosters, those teams that have 20 plus guys on it, where do those bench players land? Are those guys finding homes at other programs that then raises the level of some of those bottom tier MIVA teams, bottom tier EVA teams? to a level where they are even more competitive, or do we just see a large number of kids who just go like, I'm not playing the game, right? I'm taking my ball and I'm going home, or I'm taking my ball and I'm going to play club, right? Like, what do you guys see as some of these downstream effects for this upcoming 18-man roster cap?
I mean, it's going to depend on what year these kids are at. Like, are you cutting juniors? Are you cutting freshmen? Are you cutting, like, kids that are freshmen, sophomores, they have time. Mm-hmm. The juniors and seniors aren't going anywhere. They're finishing their degree. And so I would say that you're going to, it just depends on each team.
You're saying so if they cut a junior or senior.
They cut junior and seniors that have been on the team for a while. Those kids are staying at school. Like, those kids are going to finish their degree at where honestly, wherever they are, it doesn't even matter. They're so far along in their credits that transferring at that point, like, volleyball helped them get into that school, and they're probably there so they can get that degree anyway. This is men's volleyball. This is not like they can just jump around to any school if they want to. And so I would say that if they're older, they're staying. And yes, they may gain their years of eligibility and they could go somewhere else and try and stay fit and like go to another
as
program.
A grad transfer.
But other than that,
so you're calling the vast majority of upperclassmen, if they were to be cut from the 18-man roster,
they're not playing somewhere else,
that they're not transferring right away.
I would say probably not.
I think it's probably institutionally dependent, right? If I'm at a school that's like, I don't really care about the degree from here, I came here for volleyball, I might be transferring.
If you think about the top programs, though, of the like, there aren't a ton of, like, if you're at a Long Beach or a Hawaii. Like, those are not top academic institutions, but the rest of them are. Correct or incorrect?
Yeah, more or less. For sure.
Majority of them.
I mean, I throw CSUN in there.
Okay, sure. But even the ones from those schools, if they're upperclassmen and they're getting cut, where are they going to go? Those three schools, maybe. They could just flip around to those three schools. And if they're not at that level at that point, they're going to have a really hard time transferring to another program mid.
Maybe. I think the majority of schools are going to be, they've already started or are going to be trimming roster rather than
Long Beach
looking.
cut 150 kids this year. But like,
and so, yeah, you're just there's not going to be that much space in these top programs because these schools have been planning for it. Let me go to Chad real quick. What do you see? Maybe take it from the underclassmen or even the club player perspective, rising into this situation, or even the community college player.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're seeing it in women's volleyball a little bit already, right? Where like, hey, I'd rather pick up a transfer from, hey, this kid's been a 3-year starter at a mid-major. This kid's now ready for the big time to come in and set my team for 1 year because I lost my senior setter, right? I wonder if you see that. So kind of these, I don't know, middle-of-the-road kids moving up, right? Rather than investing in a recruit from, 16, 17, 18. I could see it going both ways. I do think it'll be kind of institution dependent of if you're at Stanford or UCLA, like
you're staying.
Yeah, I get it. But like if you're a CSUN or something, hey, if I'm the 19th guy, I'm still pretty good. But maybe I want to go out to the MIVA or something, right? Like maybe I'm going to get more money from Lewis or more money from Quincy or something. Like maybe I'm willing to go down in level a little bit to get on one of these teams and get some money and finish my education there. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So I think kids will move both up and down, and I think the end result to Matt's question is I think it hurts high school recruiting.
Yeah.
Unless you are a the bluest blue chip recruit, because I mean, who are the top teams, right? How many of those kids are on the floor that were blue chip kids in the past like year or two? Dylan Klein, Sean Kelly, Zach Rama. Yep. They're at 2 schools. Irvine's kids, no. Hawaii's kids, no. Long Beach's kids, no. Like, I guess Tread, sorry. So unless you're one of these top kids, if you're 17, is Hawaii looking at you, or are they looking at somebody from Serbia who's already 19, has already played in a couple of European championships? Or if they don't have that ability to just bring in somebody from Europe, are they looking at Lewis's second best outside? Are they looking at Loyola's third middle? Are they, like you can go shopping essentially between teams. And if you're a top program, oh, hey man, I'm the third guy. I could probably go slide out at Hawaii. Like this wouldn't be so bad. So yeah, I think it'll be a lot of interesting movement between schools as that kind of opens up, because there are good players that are going to get cut.
Yep.
And I think bottom line is it's going to hurt some of the kids that we coach at the younger levels.
I will say there's something that I absolutely love about it, though. I think that there is the more competition is creating a path for the kids that really love this and that want to work their ass off for some like insanely great stories to come out of it, of like kids that are like, you know what? I'm going to a JC. I'm going to start at a JC. I love volleyball. I'm going to work my ass off. I mean, I have no guarantee of anything, and I'm going to bite my own ego and just keep grinding at this. And like, these kids are not even close to what their potential is in the sport. Like, their athleticism, their physicality, all of these things are not even close. And so for them to make the choice that they're going to get rid of the ego of the signing and the like that stuff and just say, you know what, I'm going to go to a place where I love this sport and I want to play. That to me is like, you're weeding out the kids that just want it for the ego.
Yeah. Well, it's a sorting hat, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a filter automatically where it's like, if you don't have the drive to make this happen,
Yep.
we'll find someone else that does.
Yeah, totally.
Right. And so like
there's a part of that is very unfair that like these kids are coming out and they're not competing in their own class anymore. They're competing against 24-year-olds and they're competing against kids from Bulgaria and they're like, it's kind of ridiculous, but there is a patience that these kids need to have of like, go to the place where you think that you're going to get the best opportunity right now to develop as a player and be patient and keep working and don't go for this instant gratification, because that fails people all the time anyways. And so I'm kind of all for the kids that are like, and I know I've got my own kids on my team that are trying to figure it out. And it's like the ones that are like, I think I want to go to this lower place. I'm like, great. Like, I think that is a impressive move from these kids to say, this is where I fit in right now. And if I want to go and move somewhere at some point, and if I get to the level of that, like we will help them do that as well. So
yeah,
I'm all for it.
I think as transferring becomes more and more normalized too, there's a couple different debates that come up. But number one, in my eyes, the other downstream effect I think we'll see more of is that D3 volleyball is about to get a lot better. I think there's going to be a lot of D3 schools that are gonna be upgraded when it comes to talent level in their gym, just because they're going to have more opening rather than a Division I school that's capped at 18. So the Springfields of the world, the MITs of the world, like those higher academic ones that can get those kids in, they're already kind of capped just based on the academics.
And,
But if you've got the UC Santa Cruzes and schools like that are, still good academics, but also have men's volleyball and sponsor it, you're going to get a lot of athletes that are looking that route, and that's also going to be a pipeline into some higher level programs. The second piece that it brings me back to, is just the idea of how protective do we need to be of the American athletes in this collegiate system, because it is the only thing we have in terms of development for men's volleyball. So where does it fit in terms of a priority? Do you think
whose issue is this though? Is this USA Volleyball's issue? Is this the NCAA's issue? Is this whose issue is this to solve?
Here's the question I would have is like, where do you think there's anyone that is lobbying for there to be a cap on international players in volleyball in general? In women's volleyball, I see it less because there's so many opportunities. You're not taking away.
I mean, there's still.
If you have 1 million people, someone's going to be good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Yeah.
But, men's volleyball, hey, look, we got 12 dudes.
Yeah.
Shit. Fingers crossed. Otherwise, we're screwed for a quad.
I would think that this is a. Is there any sport that has a cap?
In NCAA, no. There's no sports that have a cap in NCAA, but there's never been a cap in NCAA. You can have as unlimited amount of walk-ons. There's a cap on scholarships, but now you're capping the total number of athletes.
Yeah.
And so it's a whole new can of worms that you're opening up.
This is just an evolution of what that does to.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should be. This honestly should be USA Volleyball advocating for the United States of volleyball. Here.
Well, yeah, just Olympic sports in general, because I'm sure this is not a men's volleyball specific issue. I'm sure you've got squash. I'm sure
Okay,
you've got
don't put it in squash territory.
what.
There's other sports.
Pick an Olympic sport that the
Lacrosse
NCAA
isn't an
sponsors.
Olympic sport, is it?
No.
But
you pick a
gymnastics, men's gymnastics, or
Sure. Pick a smaller Olympic sport, and you're going to have where there's going to be international talent that, like, if you look at men's volleyball, starting spots in NCAA men's volleyball, I would love to see the number on what percentage of that is international, because it feels like it's more than
Very
20%.
heavy, yeah.
That's for sure.
Of the top teams. Yeah.
it's heavy.
I mean, even across the board, I'd love to see across the board, because there's a lot of schools that have international talent
Yeah.
in general, not even top teams.
I guess my question then to play the other side of it is, doesn't this make volleyball at the NCAA level worse?
Right.
Yes.
So I'm not saying I don't want an all up. For me, I don't want an all up ban. I just want a cap.
But yes, you are correct. It
But
does
yeah.
make it worse.
Okay.
But
I mean, like, I don't know that guy. No, I don't know for sure, but my suspicion is the fourth outside on the team isn't coming from Bulgaria, Serbia, Poland, whatever.
unless you're Long Beach.
Long Beach has 400 guys. That's a different thing, right? But, maybe the top guy's like, hey, look, man, you're going to be the dude. Here's what it's like. Nikolov, come on over. Your brother played. It's great. You'll enjoy it. Then you can go back to, again, playing countries. Thanks.
Countries, not teams.
Countries, not teams. But I don't think, like, he's not coming over to be like, all right, I'm going to train for like 2 or 3 years, like work my ass off. And
No.
like, I'll get a shot. Like, no, man, like I can get paid to do this today in my country. I don't really need this.
Yeah.
Right.
It's an experience. They're coming for an American experience.
Yeah. So
or an American education.
Sure. But I'd be curious on what that percentage is for sure, especially of like the non-starting guys.
Yeah.
Right. But
Just
then,
what's the I want to see a roster makeup of every team.
You got a guy. You got a guy for that. But yeah, I'd be cautious of, like, how is the game evolving? Well, it's evolving in the way that, like, people like Heno were playing. Well, what if Heno wasn't playing here? Are American players just not going to see that until they graduate now? And then, shit, France.
No.
Our U19 team got smoked again.
I don't
because we
think
haven't seen
so.
it yet.
We're not doing an all up ban, right? Like, how many foreigners does Irvine have?
What's men's soccer doing?
I have no clue.
That's an interesting question, because men's soccer in the United
The
MLS,
States, the MLS has a cap.
MLS has a cap.
Yeah.
Does men's college doesn't have a cap though?
NCAA doesn't have a cap.
Are coaches recruiting internationally a lot, and is it prevalent in men's soccer in the NCAA?
I'm
James,
not
we
sure.
have a second question.
I'm not sure,
It's
but
a
my
good question, though.
Yeah,
It's a good
for
question,
sure.
though, because the United States is the worst country in the world in soccer, and they are if they are not recruiting internationally, or like
you
kids
got to
going
think they
in-
are.
You got to think.
You got to
they
think there's
are.
a predominantly there's got to be a large number
And
of
so I
international.
gotta think that's the easiest sport to correlate here with, like, these guys are
more numbers though. There's more programs.
There's more programs, but like it's not.
I think the professional system for soccer internationally is also a little bit different, right? Like, if you're
Yeah.
the best 11-year-old in your country, you've
Yeah.
already been at some academy
Yeah.
for like
For sure.
3 years, right?
Totally.
They come and get you when you're 8,
Yeah.
right? So
Not to say
Ten-
the United
te-
States.
Tennis is a good example as well, because I know from the tennis perspective, it's a ton of. Sorry to college tennis players. It's a ton of, like, international or just top talent tennis players that didn't make it. They're like, I'm not in the
That's
top
what gymnastics is kinda
300
like too. Yeah,
I'm not in
sure.
the top 300, so I'm gonna go get my education paid
Yeah.
for. I'm gonna go have this experience, and then I'll be done. And that's it. And you'll get a couple that are like odd birds, where it's like, oh, they're like a top 50, but they want that Stanford education, they want that Princeton, Harvard education.
I could buy it in tennis because, obviously you can play by yourself. Like, golf could kind of be that same thing. I think US
Yeah.
is usually we golf all right usually, but yeah, that'd be interesting. Like, these, like, kind of more individual sports versus, like, the soccer, where, hey, like, I do need to be part of a team.
Yeah.
And there is a really strong professional model globally.
Yeah.
Right. Like, people aren't like, all right, when you're Messi, you can come when you're, like, done with your
Sure.
Sure. But, like,
Sunset. The
Yeah,
sunset.
sunset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sunset
give us
League.
the David Beckham. But yeah, I mean, for everybody else, it's like, oh, I could just go make more money playing in the UK.
Yeah.
Like, why I don't need to go play for this
Yeah, it's a
university, right? Like,
development wise. I wonder what it has done to soccer in this country and what it's doing to.
Yeah. All valid points. I don't think there should be a ban on the. I just look for a cap. just to protect that and the number of roster spots. Because again, like you want the Henos, you want the Nikolovs, you want those guys to be able to come here. If that's the experience they're looking for, amazing. That makes the
Not even
NCAA
just
better.
that, it's good for our kids too.
100%.
Like
Yeah.
100%.
I'm not anti-international kids at all.
But then you get the schools are going to be strategic with that. If you have a cap, you're like, okay, I can have 2. I'm going to get the goddamn best 2 I
Yeah,
can.
and
I'm not going to just be like, yeah, I'll take this random like Finnish libero. Like you're going to be like, I need a Bulgarian right side.
I'm definitely bearish on Finnish liberos. Yeah, you can't. Not a long-term play.
Men's volleyball is feeling like it is become abuse of this.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's abuse. What I would say,
it's a combination of the 18 roster cap and the international players. The high school kids are getting screwed right now.
yeah,
There's no question.
they're in a tough squeeze.
They're in a very tough place. Yes, they can work their butts off and they can get there and they can figure it out. The ones that it's going to weed out the ones that don't want it and the ones that want it and whatever. But the cap on international players would make this an equal playing field, and it would develop the United States talent.
It would, yeah. I don't know if it would be a fully equal, but it would be would be a proper incentive.
Do you actually, are we making this argument based off of like the bottom kids
No,
of like this talent though? Because like those top kids, when they're 18 years old, like is there anybody that's 18 years old that isn't a top kid that they are going to go and have a career and go to the national team at some point?
You're saying, if I'm the third outside, after, Heno and these guys flexing, hey, obviously flexing's not.
Let's say we
foreign,
make
but,
the
like,
international rule.
yeah.
International rule 2 cap.
Mm-hmm.
That opens up spots for however many kids to come into this system now for an NCAA men's volleyball. Those are not the blue chip recruits. Those are not. There's a whole group of them that have already gone. They're already going to get there because they're the best. We're talking about the middle.
I'll counter that right away.
Okay.
Take Sebastian Sani on Long Beach. He's the 3rd/4th outside option.
Oh, you're talking about playing time in games.
I'm talking about top American talent being on the floor for top American programs. You got Sebastian Sani, so
I would
Satiris
argue-
gets injured, so he starts against UC Irvine.
Sure.
Struggles, they bring in the Bulgarian outside after him.
No, I get it. You're saying
so
that
that's a blue chip recruit right there that is behind 3 international outside hitters.
Okay. We're not talking about practice time. We're talking about just game time there.
Yeah, but
Okay.
that's the incentive is that's what you're looking for. We're looking for overall development. Yes, obviously, like being in a great practice gym.
So you can make the argument that you're in the better practice gym and those kids are getting better than they.
Sure, you could totally make that argument as like that's the only thing. But the incentive
That's
here's
a question mark for me.
the reason I say the cap is because you need to provide the incentive. The incentive is that you want to get the best overall team. So if I'm a coach right now and I'm in that,
internationally,
I'm
sure.
going international.
100%. No,
I'm going international.
I
I'm
don't
going
argue with you on
transfers.
that.
I'm looking at JUCO.
Yeah.
Those are the things. I want older kids,
Yeah.
more experience that want it.
What do I want a 16-year-old for?
Yeah. There's no reason.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
so provide the incentive. So now you need to build the pipeline of an American kids in your team because that is at bare minimum 5 of your 7 starters are going to have to be American. Now the incentive is properly aligned where you're looking for the best international talent, but you're also looking for the best American talent, and you're working them all in.
Got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't our 16-year-olds as good as everybody else's 16-year-olds?
Great question,
And
Chad.
we can cut this part because obviously this hits a little bit closer to home, but like
Let's leave it in.
But why would you go and recruit a 18-year-old out of Serbia? Why aren't our 18-year-olds on par? I mean, I get maybe, hey, we've got a couple at the very top. Sure, the blue, whatever. But why is it like, okay, I got through these 3, I didn't get these 3, I'm going to Serbia.
Let's talk about it.
Sure, we have editing software. We can cut it later.
Yeah,
No, we don't even have
No,
to cut it.
I think it's a great question, and I think we for sure could dive super deep into it. I'm not fully prepped on it, but my biggest immediate thought is just going to be academy system,
No kidding.
right? Like you've got
These best kids play with each other.
There's a story. I'll remove the name of the athlete, but let's just say the athlete comes on a recruiting trip, and the first question they ask is, "How many times do we train a day?" "Oh, we train once a day." Okay. But when else? Like, when else do we train?
Yeah.
Once a day, but like
Because I've been
when's the other
training.
time?
Because I've been training 2 times a day, every day for 5 days a week.
For
We lift
4
weights.
years.
We lift weights 6 days a week, and on the off days we do all the fit. Like, their
They're
whole
college
life has
kids
been
already.
training. So you got a bunch of athletes who've been doing this as a job since they were. For soccer, it's like 8. For other sports, it's like, they started 10 and 11, 12.
Yep.
Right? They've been doing it as a job. They have more time under tension, right? They've just been doing the game longer, and so they then play against guys who are higher level.
Not to say that our system is broken, because the United States wins more medals than any other country in the world, and we are producing athletes at the highest level. I believe that men's volleyball is a broken system, and at the younger level, and it is not creating the space for. I mean, yes, the academies is the academies is the reason.
Sure.
Like, get kids playing more at the highest level that they can more often. I think that is nobody argues that is wrong.
I'd settle for just more often.
Yeah, 100%.
Medium level, sure.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea on it?
No, I think the academy system is probably the biggest. Like, I think, look at who's come up through the club, right? It's these guys who started younger, or they had older sisters. You always bet on the kid that's got an older sibling because they've been beaten up during pepper sessions or one-on-one playing over the top of the couch for 5 years before they get in some organized setting.
Yeah.
I think there's a smaller piece, right? I think the time under tension is probably the biggest piece for sure. But I think there's a smaller piece of, what's incentivized in the U.S., right, is usually competition.
Exactly.
Right? And for us, competition, if we're being frank, at the youth sporting level, is a financial incentive, right, for tournaments and clubs and organizations. Because this stuff, it doesn't get cheaper every year, right? That acai bowl that we're joking about, why is that $19?
Yeah, it's a money business.
Yeah, right? So, do our 12-year-olds need to be playing on a regulation-sized court and all this stuff?
Yeah, no.
And then you go over to Outrigger and it's like, oh, all the kids just play on the baby court because they're babies, and this is proportional, and they get really good at spiking when they're 12 because they don't have to hit on a net. Why would I need to hit it up? That doesn't help me at all, right? And I think there is some stuff like that. When you hear about all these European teams or you watch how they train, and it's like, oh, why is France so good? I don't know. They play threes all the time.
Yeah.
So everybody, when the ball comes to them, they can do it. Yeah, of course, our top guys can do that. But why, you walk into my practice, my middle's like, oh, hey, man,
I'm
I
a
can't
middle,
set.
yeah.
They double the ball. Like, they want to set it, but, then they chuck it. And it's like, oh, man, I'm a middle. I don't, no,
you're a volleyball player.
Yeah,
volleyball.
exactly, man.
Yeah.
It's always that thing. But, when you have 12-year-olds or whatever that need to, go out and compete, is that the best thing to worry about for a 12-year-old? And maybe if they're in an academy or something and they're a professional and they're being paid to go win English Premier League games.
Yep.
Sure, man, 12-year-old, hey, put on your boots and let's go do this thing. But I think there's that element of it too, which maybe slows down some of these kids early on.
Yeah,
For sure.
There's the great one and the great excerpt in Outliers. I believe it's the tennis club. But there's a famous tennis academy that essentially doesn't allow kids to compete until 15.
Yeah.
They'll join at 9, but you don't get to play in a tournament until you're 15.
Yep.
And they just train and they do it. Yeah, they do it differently.
You play other games, right? But you don't hey, there's no scoreboard.
We're not going to AAU national championships.
The point is to have fun and get better and develop. Hey, put in effort and see yourself improve. Not oh, the scoreboard tells me that I'm not good.
Yeah.
Right.
The other little bullet points I would put into this would be the reason why America has so much success at the Olympics and specifically can overcompensate for some of these other events like men's volleyball is America is a hugely populous country.
Yeah.
We have numbers. That's the other part. So we have numbers, and so we're able to overcompensate because we're going to get kids
we're able to sign up for every division.
Seriously.
We can do all of them.
We'll do all the sports. Well, yeah. But no, you have a lot of kids. At some point, one of those kids pans out to be the guy that's I
God's
love
gift.
this. I'm
Yep.
doing it. This is everything I want to put my effort into, and they grind and they find a way. And those are the ones that do.
They're
get a-
physically gifted, and they're,
Yes,
yeah,
and they find
yeah.
you find that path. So we get lucky in that sense, but it's not, as we've seen, like that's not a guaranteed gold medal every year. It just puts us in the ballpark.
Yeah.
Right, we're in the ballpark of talent,
because
but
of numbers. Yeah,
where are we going to be at in terms of the overall development? That's the question. And then the last little one is also what the mind can see, the mind can achieve. There's no pro league here. And so that's the other aspect that I think is a downside for men's volleyball at least is, and when you compare it to, right, what does the French kid look like? What does the Bulgarian kid look at? They have these pro leagues that they're looking to. And when they're young, they see that, and there is an incentive for them where they're like, I see a path for myself.
Yeah.
Whereas men's volleyball, the path is not as clear. And we're lucky with,
Once you see the path, you're like, oh, I don't know about that
Yeah,
path.
yeah.
Like, actually,
Yeah.
no, we're just lucky in the
numbers
sense
wise,
that
that doesn't make any sense.
I'm gonna make less money. It's gonna be cloudy and sad, and all my friends live
over there.
9,
Yeah,
10
yeah,
hours.
yeah.
Oh man,
all of my holidays will be spent in a cold,
Yeah.
snowy
Most likely.
hellscape.
God damn it, Finland.
Big Bank. Shout out Big Bank.
Shout out to Big Bang
Shout out
Shark too.
Estonia.
Malibu. There
Well,
you go.
not the smoothest of transitions, but I do want to bring us to the next little topic here because it is a big one and it is in the line of a lot of internationals. We got Long Beach at Hawaii this week, and it is probably, I think most people had this circled on the calendar as like the biggest weekend of the year in terms of matchups. Hawaii has sold out Saturday, and I'd say I looked right before we started recording.
It's at Hawaii.
At Hawaii.
Ah.
You got the Nikolov show coming to town. They've got about 500 tickets left for the Friday night match, and Saturday is fully sold out. So you're looking at almost 11,000 people in the stands for these two matchups with, honestly, huge implications. I think Hawaii got caught overlooking CSUN this past weekend, and so they need a feather in their cap when it comes to a win.
I think if Hawaii beats Long Beach, I'm keeping them at 5 still.
Honestly, 6. Sorry. Like, did you really need that
Be
foresight?
better.
I don't know.
Yeah, come on. No, it's gonna be huge. Like for Hawaii, they've bad loss to Stanford. They lost to CSUN. They lost. What was their other loss? They had
I
one
think
more.
Nikolov's just gonna go off.
Yeah, I mean that we'll do our predictions for sure. But if Hawaii wants an at large, I think they need a dub
Give.
Yeah.
because USC was their other loss. Okay, so I think they need a dub in order to kind of Irvine getting a win against Long Beach. That's huge for them. Then they just kind of flushed a little bit of that away with a loss to San Diego. But
I'm taking Hawaii.
hear me out. Let's go. Yeah, let's
I'm
go.
sorry, I'm taking Long Beach.
Let's go predictions. You start us off, Ariel. We'll go around the horn real quick.
Long Beach forever.
You going Long Beach two
Yeah.
two
Long Beach forever.
two wins? You want to give us
That's the new sign for Long Beach forever. Yeah, I'm going 2 wins. I'm
sweeps?
gonna
Set? What are we going?
put my money in Nikolov's pocket. I think that give him a real crowd. Like this is a real crowd. There's
Yeah.
gonna be 10,000 people there. Like that's great.
Yep.
I think he's just gonna be like yelling at the abyss.
It'd be like VNL.
At the-
yeah,
at the
he's
aunties-
like,
aunties
you know,
and
yeah,
uncles?
he's like,
This is the closest thing to like an arena that he actually plays
yeah,
in. So.
totally. I think he's like, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going
How-
2 wins Long Beach.
yeah, sure.
All right, Chad.
I'm taking Long Beach twice. I think UH gets a set or 2 maybe on night 1. I think Long Beach gets it, and then I think Long Beach rolls night 2.
Okay.
I think they're going to be like, okay, no, we're fine.
That's
Like, here we go.
specific.
I'm going with a Hawaii split.
And you're thinking Hawaii takes the first night,
I'm thinking Hawaii takes the first.
and then Long Beach is like, let's put our big boy pants on. And
Yes. I'm thinking you're going to have, and it's not going to be, I agree. I think Nikolov is going to shine in this moment for sure. I think he's going to have a huge weekend, but I think we're going to have some cracks show. And just like we saw against Irvine, I think there's going to be some cracks showing a little bit from the
Nikolov?
offensive production side.
Sorry, Nikolov versus Tread though. Sorry,
It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
I got
big dudes.
Nikolov.
Yeah, those are big bodies. But yeah, that's where my gut goes. Honestly, I could see Long Beach sweeping. Yes,
You can't
I don't
Hawaii
see
sweeping.
I don't see Hawaii sweeping. I don't see that.
I don't either.
But I think there's going to be enough energy and
At that time.
and fire for
I will
Hawaii to
say,
get
if
one.
Hawaii were to sweep, which we all don't think is going to happen, it would make for a very interesting postseason.
Oh,
So I'm
hell
like
yeah.
rooting for an interesting postseason. But like, I don't know.
Also, on the note of this, I did some research this week. I want to do the Manning cast. I want to do a live stream of it.
Should we do it this weekend?
Yes,
These matches
'cause
are at 10 p.m.
I know they're late, but that also works for me because the kids are asleep. So I'm
It's all on Chad then.
I'm thinking about setting
'Cause
up
I
a
live here.
Manning
There are only 2 Mannings usually on the cast, so
No,
You don't
there's
even
a
need to- you don't-
third Manning.
You don't
Yeah.
even need to drive down, Chad. I figured out how to. We can zoom you in. You can just be in bed.
It doesn't work. You have to be here.
I don't know about that.
Why don't you guys sleep over?
We'll see. It's unlikely. I'm gonna be asleep.
Let it be known. I've been toying around with it. I did a little pretend version cast of a Big West softball game to see if I could like stream the ESPN Plus
Excuse
showing.
me, a Big West softball game?
Yeah, Big West softball
It
game.
was playing.
It was like Davis and someone else. I don't know, but I was making sure like they would let me stream.
Were you
ESPN.
commentating on it?
No, I just had my face up
Man.
and I did a little test run just to check it out. But yeah, playing around with that. I think that's the future. I think that's the future of the coaches group chat.
Okay.
TCGC broadcast.
Well, is there anything else?
Yes, there's one other thing I think we need to bring up.
Damn it!
Yeah, I know. Sorry. It was
I'm bored.
big news. Big news
her
in
out
the
of
women's,
here.
in the women's volleyball space.
We gotta shout out the girls because women's rights
yeah,
and stuff.
women. Yeah, this is our Title IX portion of the show. We had a big retirement announcement.
Another one bites the dust in
Kristen
women's
Bernal
volleyball
Booth.
this year.
She's just biting some other dust.
Yeah, she's biting different dust.
Yeah.
Yeah, retiring from Creighton after 20 plus seasons as the head coach.
22 seasons.
22, and she is rumored to be taking a spot at Love. Anyone have any thoughts on this? You want to kick us off here?
I heard a rumor that big changes are happening at Love soon. Like big changes.
How big?
Like the biggest.
Wow, those are
Like
some
they're
big
buying the
changes.
PVF?
No. Like
That would be the biggest in my eyes.
big changes, like shifts are happening, and that could be one of the shifts. She could be one of the shifts. She could be shifting
What would she be shifting to?
into a
She
big,
gonna be
big
coaching?
role. I don't know. It says admin job.
I think she has
Somebody
said that. Yeah,
admin
I
job.
think she.
But admin could be anything, right?
Yeah, but I think it's not a coaching role.
Not a coaching
No,
role.
yeah,
But
no.
I mean,
no,
I-
I'm not talking about coaching roles.
Yeah. I mean, I think it makes a ton of sense. I mean, like, find me someone more kind of widely liked than KBB.
Oh yeah.
And so yeah, whatever her new thing is over there, I'm sure it's good for that league and hopefully good for the sport in general. And I'd be shocked if it's not a long-term positive for them. So
If you were gonna go like this and lean Love PVF, where are you?
I'm not allowed to vote.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Where are
Abstain.
you?
I'm right in the middle.
I think I go
Here.
slightly to Love.
So am I.
I go slightly
That's
to
where
Love.
I'm at, too.
I don't go. It's like PVF is still there. I'm telling you, they're gonna these two leagues are gonna merge
What
at some
about
point.
PVF makes you like?
The crowds.
Yeah,
They're just playing in bigger. They're playing in bigger
That's what
stadiums.
I
The
think
crowd.
too. Somebody said to me like, "No, the crowds at Love are." I'm like, "Have you seen it?" Like, no.
No, yeah, the crowds are not great at Love thus far.
That's what I've seen too.
I also just want Love. Part of me still is just caught up on like the Love branding. I
Yeah,
want
me
give me
too.
like a true pro model. That's
Yeah.
one thing. Like PVF. Do I love all of their team names? No, but can I like at least get behind? Okay, I know who the
Yes.
Omaha Supernovas. Great. Okay, that's
I know
that's
the
a
Indy
team.
Fury.
Yeah,
Is that right?
The Indy Ignite. That's the
Damn it!
Columbus Fury.
Columbus
Damn
Fury.
it.
Yeah,
Behind
good
it.
try. Selling. She's selling.
I'm right here.
I thought Love was going to that model eventually, though. I thought,
Yeah,
like, for some of these things to like kickstart the league.
I'm ready for Love to go to that model.
Yeah, it is. I
Now.
mean,
KBB, can you make that happen in your new admin role? Is your new admin role the director of
Of naming
money.
pro team names?
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, I think like to get something off the ground, you got to guarantee some stuff to some people so that I don't leave my job in Italy and then come play here and then get cut week 2.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like this is a little bit odd, right? Like the league is placing players in markets that work for the league, but
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
usually you got to be like a 10-year veteran and be like, hey man, I don't really want to get traded to Detroit. I want to go to Miami or whatever, right? Like, so
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'm tired.
Well, on that note, Ariel has bedtime.
Title IX portion over.
Episode 11. That's a wrap.
This is why I'm not going to make the 10 p.m.